Welcome back to Blackthornprod. I'm Noah, an indie game developer, and I'm currently creating a fast-paced roguelike about playing as a small fireboy, blasting his way from one tiny planet to another, and encountering all kinds of vicious foes along the way. It's been about 1 month since I began work on this world, so yeah, time moves very fast. In this video I'm going to share with you what I've made in these past 2 weeks on my game, which I'm calling Rising Sun. This time around, I focused most of my energy on the game's third area. Quick recap, the first levels are set in the area called Fields of Gold. There's a couple easy creatures to dispatch, a linear line of planets to jump between, traps, some vicious bubbling liquid creeping upwards. Then there's Area 2, Lushlands, filled with shooting monsters, morphing planets, speedy, spiky things, and more. And now we have Area 3, the Crimson Hollow. And this time you don't rise towards the sun, but plummet downwards. The planet shapes are unique to this area, with triangles and squares, and strange skull and castle ones. As soon as you dash to a movement spot, you've got to quickly hop away or get skewered like a piglet by some spiky-haired devils or fat, juicy monsters. Not to mention the various hazards falling from the sky, such as this howling chained head, a toothy maw, or blood-stained meteorites. This area is even more fast-paced than the others, though not necessarily harder than Area 2. It's a different kind of difficulty. It tests the player's ability to move quickly to the right spots. There's way too many creatures here to destroy them all, so it's a lot more about dodging fast and speeding down rather than collecting flames and destroying monsters. Really happy with how it's turned out so far. It certainly feels unique. I played around with a couple ideas for Area 3 that haven't made it in yet, though might in the future, such as this flying star thief that, instead of dealing damage, steals your precious stars. Quick reminder, stars are the currency in this world, which you can use to buy powers and health in the merchant worlds. I think this is a neat little enemy character, however it didn't really fit Area 3, so perhaps I could try adding it to Area 2. One thing I don't want, however, is to overpopulate a single area with too many new creatures and planets and traps, which might be confusing, so it's a fine balance. I also created this beefy flying bat monster who, when killed, explodes into 4 small bats. Not sure where to put him though, if at all. And there's this cool little flying machine which changes the way the player can move in the world. So instead of dashing between movement points, he holds down the left mouse button on this machine and can follow that around the scene. And I can imagine having that explode after a few seconds, so you need to be careful not to overuse it, and perhaps need to jump on a new nearby one. So that's another fun, stray idea, which made me think of another for the 4th and perhaps final area in the game, Tenebrous Sky. I've only just started this one, so don't judge too harshly, but the concept would be that the player can click anywhere in the world and be able to move there. Complete freedom, which can bring on a wealth of new challenges and fun, and makes this area distinct from the other 3. A fantastic suggestion I got in the comments in my previous devlog videos was of a creature that can only be killed when the player is in his white mode, instead of the orange one, also known as the attack mode. So I brought to life these floaty, piercing light blue creatures who deal damage to the player if he's orange. This feels really interesting, and I can imagine encounters where the player is hopping between normal monsters and these eerie blue ones. Obviously, being orange when facing these is a weakness, so I added annoying little wings to the flame boys as they move towards the player, trying to set him on fire, instead of their usual static states. There's also these light blue shooters, so I need to test this all out, but so far, I think the results in terms of gameplay are cool and full of potential. And then there's these spooky arm creatures for Area 4. So again, early days, but Area 4 Tenebrous Sky will be a big focus in the following week or two. I've also just begun work on the third boss character, so the player can face a beefy foe at the end of Area 3, and then I'll need to dream up a final boss once he completes Area 4. But as I said in the last devlog, I'll make more than just one boss per area, because I have plenty of ideas I want to bring to life. Also adds that extra variety and excitement to the adventure. Now, while watching my faithful playtesters, I noticed it was very frustrating to enter a new area, be overwhelmed with all the new things going on, and die in a couple seconds simply due to excitement and novelty overdose, and then needs to go through the first levels all over again. Sure, everything is randomized and replaying and dying is part of the fun, but it was still clear to me that shortcuts would be a great add-on, so that the player quickly jumps to the area he wants to play and can practice without too much frustration. Of course, like in Spelunky, which I think is the game that inspired me with this idea of shortcuts, these won't be unlocked as soon as the player boots up the game. Rather, he'll unlock them by completing the previous area first, and spending a large sum of stars. This way I'm sure he masters the first levels. Of course, I'll also make sure to encourage players to play from the beginning and complete the adventure from A to Z without shortcuts, by perhaps adding secret areas only accessible if a certain thing has been done in each area, or with achievements or missions. Plenty options there. Anyway, to recap, if all goes to plan, in roughly 2 weeks, I should have a complete game with 4 areas, 4 bosses, and the merchant worlds in between. And then it will be time to take a step back and see all the things that could be improved and polished. And only then will I add in more bosses, perhaps a secret area or 2, and a few other things. But yeah, happy with how Rising Sun is coming along. And I sure hope you guys are excited to play this new game I've been creating as my first 2020 Worlds. Massive thanks to my patrons for their financial support each and every month. The current reward for donating $5 or more is to get my game for free when it comes out. If you also want to make games, then me and my brother made 3 in-depth Udemy courses showing you how. You'll get a lot of value learning from those tutorials for sure. And I mean, yeah, very proud of those. Me and my brother were actually currently thinking of creating one on how to make a card game similar to something like Slay the Spire, which could be a total blast. With that said, Rising Sun, here I come. Stay tuned everyone, and see you all soon. Cheers.